What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Rian Parish from Like a Boss. I'm the celebrity assistant to Big Tigger, and I'm chilling with your girl, Allison, in Rug Media. You guys make sure to follow me on Instagram at who_but, BUT_I, who but I. Thank you.
The most powerful influencers in the world today are often in the entertainment industry. We've become very familiar with those in front of the camera. But what about those that assist daily with both professionally and personally in propelling the success of some of our favorite celebrities? Folks, I'm talking about being a celebrity assistant. They have some very unique strategies for career management, advancement, as well as personal branding. The ins and outs of being an assistant is currently being chronicled on Oxygen's Like a Boss. And today we talk with none other than Rian Parish from the show. And we talked to Ms. Parish about how and why being a celebrity assistant is, in fact, an inside tastemaker. Hi, Rian. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. We're so excited to find out about being a celebrity assistant. So many of our listeners are interested in the entertainment industry, but not necessarily being the celebrity or the one in the spotlight. And so what we try to do is reach out to different people who work behind the scenes and making the entertainment industry run. You know, you affect the culture on a daily basis, and many people may not quite understand. But,
they typically don't.
I can kind of see that. Well, let's just jump right into it, Rian. How did you become a celebrity assistant? Like, how did you get your foot in the door? How did this all come about?
You know, I first became a celebrity assistant many years ago, actually, for Rough Riders. You know, most people know Rough Riders from the music industry, but they actually had created a film entity side of it, and I worked for the CEOs of that side. And it's so funny, you know, ultimately for me, I've always been I'm an aspiring actress. It's been my dream my entire life. But I'm a firm believer that there's no one route to get to where you're trying to go. So rather that, for me, becoming, you know, an actress through assisting someone, you know, doing hair on a music video set, or whatever the case may be, nothing was above me. So I was actually doing some research, you know, many years ago when I, you know, came across the Rough Rider opportunity. And the post that I came across was very discreet, and I was like, I think this could be somebody, or this could be something. And then, sure, you know, I, you know, submitted my resume. We did the interview. I went in, and sure enough, it was. And so from that point, I just kind of, you know, I aligned myself, you know, with the type of people that I wanted to be in the comfort of, you know what I mean, and which I think anyone should do, you know what I'm saying, especially in this business. If you're trying to become a celebrity assistant, start putting yourself in positions to where these celebrities are, you know what I mean, or these stars are, and so that's basically what I did.
Oh, awesome. Well, that in itself was a wealth of knowledge, definitely. Who else? I know you talked about working with Rough Riders. Who else have you worked with, and in what capacity?
Got it. I've worked with Tiny, in which I still work with her. I've been with her for about 4.5 years, and then I also work with Big Tigger, as you guys know from the show. Yeah, you know, and I've worked with other people, but not on an assistant, you know, level. But, you know, for them, I'm definitely, you know, their executive assistant. Yeah.
Okay. So with your end goal ultimately being acting or being a host, a TV host or whatnot, discuss with our listeners some of the advantages and disadvantages of working as an assistant as it relates to your end goal.
You know, I think being a celebrity assistant in whatever capacity, whether it's personal or executive, the knowledge that you gain, for me, is the biggest perk. You know what I mean? The education is endless. The networking opportunities, the people that you're going to meet along the way that can, you know, eventually help you on your own path, you really can't buy anywhere else. Some of the disadvantages I would say is, you know, when you become a celebrity assistant in whatever capacity, typically, you know, you kind of give up your own life in a sense. And so it's really trying to find that balance to where you really keep at your own goals, your own dreams. You know, a lot of times our life really becomes their life. And so that's just what it's about. And it never ends. It's a 24-hour job every day of the year. And so, you know, a lot of times, and I know for me, you know, that's been a struggle for me, is kind of being able to, you know, work at my craft, whether that's acting or hosting or whatever the case may be. You know, I also, you know, own a business and things of that nature. So the struggle has been being able to have the luxury to commit 100%, you know, to my own goals, my own businesses and things of that nature.
Okay. And you talked a bit about relationships, and we live in such a relationship economy. It's so much about, I know what I've learned, it's so much about who you know sometimes. How have you maintained your relationships or developed relationships from those you come in contact with your celebrity bosses?
Okay, I'm sorry. Say it again. I missed the question. I apologize.
Oh, no, it's perfectly fine. I know you were talking about, you know, building some of those relationships. I wanted to talk about how you take some of those relationships that you come in contact with.
Okay.
How do you maintain those relationships from those celebrity bosses, from one celebrity boss to another, those relationships that you've gained over the time? Because we live in such a relationship economy.
We really do. I say it's just by simply doing a business, you know, being respectful and knowing your position. You know I take the backseat position, and at the end of the day, it's about that client or that employer, you know, that boss that I work for. But I think it's simply just doing a business, handling business properly when you're dealing with these people that you're meeting, you know, within the network. That's simply it. And, you know, doing a business and being respectful and professional at all times will take you a long way. So that has worked for me greatly.
Great. Now, in the field that you're in, Rian, it seems that you're constantly having to streamline someone else's business and their life. What professional tools do you use to manage some of the core parts of your job?
Well, you know, I come from corporate America. I'm just one of those people that I'm used to working well under pressure. You know, in the entertainment business, things are not always pre-planned. You know, a lot of things are procrastinated. A lot of things just kind of happen at the drop of a dime. So it's being able to work well on your feet and really hop in and make those situations happen. And, you know what I mean, working well under pressure. So I think having that skill and me kind of, you know, being a people's person and don't take things too personal, you know what I mean, has really, really worked well in my favor.
Okay. Yeah, that I can definitely see that. I can see how it can be a probably very intense position to have.
Definitely intense, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just from watching the show even, you can tell that things change so quickly and so swiftly, and you have to be able to move with that change to make it seem seamless for that celebrity that's in the spotlight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm just curious, and I'm sure some of our listeners are curious as well. What's the most important skill that an aspiring celebrity assistant should possess? Do you recommend any kind of formal training or anything like that? Or
I think definitely being able to work well under pressure, definitely having great verbal and written communication skills is important. You're going to be, you know, handling a lot of their business and meetings, you know, with companies, attorneys, you know, all sorts of things. Definitely having good customer service skills. I would say definitely verbal communication skills is going to be key, and being able to work well under pressure, and knowing that there's no one job that's bigger than you. And at the end of the day, your position, I think that we have the most, I feel like our position is more, I don't know, imperative. It's it's more integral than even a manager or an agent because we're all of those things in one. And then so we're our person's right hand. With Tiny, she's married, and I always say I'm her other half. Her husband is her other half, but I'm the other half. I do, everything except for what her husband, is there to do. And that the role we play is just, it's so key, because they need to be able to focus on, creative and being the talent that they are and know that their business is being handled properly.
Yeah. So being somebody's other half, in your words, I can only imagine some of the things that you've been asked to do. What has been the craziest, most outlandish task that you can think of to date that you've been asked by a celebrity boss?
I'm going to use Tigger for example because I've been asked that question before. And so Tigger and I's relationship is very unique and one of which I love. We're like brother and sister. We hit it off from the time we met, of which, he was referred, by Tiny because he was new to the Atlanta area. So we're like brother and sister, like literally. So one day, I think that he feels like we're too close. He asked me to remove a booger out of his nose because his hands were tied. I can't remember what was going on, but I was like, are you serious? Are we having a moment? Like, are you serious? So I thought that he was just crazy for that, to think that I'm going to get a booger out of your nose, honey. I don't think so.
So definitely no job is too small or too big.
No job is too small or too big. Okay.
Absolutely. So what are some of the do's and don'ts of getting on the radar of a certain celebrity if you think that you have those certain skills and those certain characteristics to be a celebrity assistant? What would someone need to do if that was their aspiring career?
Well, I would say some don'ts is that you definitely don't want to come off as a groupie. You know what I mean? Or saying I like to, and this may be, my confidence level, I like to think that it's an advantage and a pleasure for them to have me as their assistant versus, the other way around as most people would think. But I would definitely say be respectful. They like people that are very normal because they're very normal people. You know what I mean? They just happen to be in the limelight. So if you're trying to get into the situation, you definitely don't want to come off as groupie. You definitely, you want to be a very honest person, you know what I mean, and not make the situation about you. A lot of people get into the situation for some of the wrong reasons. And at the end of the day, we all should have goals and something that we want to gain from the situation. It wasn't my aspiration, I must say, to become, to just aspire to be an assistant, but it's just the path that I'm on to get to where I'm ultimately trying to go. And it's one that's helping me get there. But like I said, align yourself in the proper places, present yourself in a respectful, professional manner, just as you would a corporate America job if you were going out to work for IBM. Have that same demeanor, and just make yourself a demand. To me, my mindset and being able to keep a good face and to keep a good name is being able every day to make myself a demand and knowing that you're replaceable every day. And I feel like when you make yourself a demand, then you're on. Like, that's it for you, but know in the back of your mind that every day do your job, as if it's the last day, you know what I mean? So you can stay around.
Yeah. So basically know your worth. And
know your worth, for
operate,
sure.
Yeah, operate in that. With all of that, you come from the corporate world, you work with all of these different clients or whatnot. And being a celebrity assistant was not really in your career path when you designed your career path. It sounds like, what is your deadline, or how does someone come up? Because you hear a few people who say they think they can be celebrity assistants or they want to do the celebrity assistant thing. That is not their ultimate end goal. So
and for some people it is.
It's your deadline. Yeah, and for some people it is, correct. So if it's not, what is your deadline in this position, and do you say, I'm going to do this for the next amount of time, or how does that work? How does that mind frame work?
I definitely don't want to just throw a date out there and say, tomorrow. I think every day I work towards, becoming a boss, being the next boss, you know what I'm saying? But, timing and things don't necessarily happen as we want them to happen. I feel like every person when you get to a point in wherever the situation may be, whether you're in a celebrity assistant or you're in corporate America, you're trying to venture out on your own business. I think that when the growth is no longer there, or you feel like, hey, I've gained all the knowledge, I've come as far as I can come in this position, and it's time for that next chapter, I just think that we know, and I can't necessarily put a date on it. You know what I mean? I think when that time comes, you feel it, it's within your heart, and you just take that next leap into your, to the next journey.
Okay. Now, the $1 million question is,
oh, goodness, what's the $1 million question?
Walk us through the average day of being an assistant.
Oh, man, that's a crazy day.
Or is there an average day? It may not even be.
I don't know if there's an average day. And see, for me, because, most celebrity assistants are not, a mother or a father. So it's so crazy for me. An average day for me is waking up, getting my children, off and ready to school, breakfast, lunch, fix, and all of that. Then typically I'll go in either to the office or to that client's home, or either work from home or wherever I may be stationary, and take care, because typically they may be asleep because, in entertainment, it's a huge nightlife, and they're working, through that time. So early in the morning when you're dropping kids off, which is 7, 8 in the morning, they're typically asleep. So that allows me to be able to, handle email correspondence, set up the schedule and the calendar for the day, for the week, arrange meetings, hop on the phone with attorneys, manufacturers, whatever the case may be, get with, managers so we can kind of work on the game plan, and have all of that in motion for them. Then around about, I would say, 11 to 12 noonish, that client is probably getting up to get their work day, meeting them there, greeting them with breakfast, close out, you know what I mean? There's just so many different things, making sure that they're home front, because some of us, like I said, still handle their personal lives. You're stocked if they have kids, making sure that their kids and, bills paid, all those many different things, and getting out to either that first meeting or, as in Tigger's case, to the radio station, for him to do his 2 to 6 hours. Sometimes, we're jumping on flights and arranging, flights at the last minute because this person was just up here or there. It's a number of things. No one day is the same. You know what I mean? So you just have to be ready to rumble. So for me, in my case, I was blessed with a partner who's in corporate America, and his schedule is completely opposite. You know what I mean? But I don't suggest anyone with children to do this job. It can be done. It's very, very hard, but, I've just been blessed to be able to make it work.
You sound like super mom. I have to give it to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I do. What are 3 common myths, Rian, about being a celebrity assistant? Because you hear so many different things.
The biggest misconception is people think that we are rich. People feel like it's glitz and glamour, and because of their lifestyle. And that is so far from the truth, girl. Do you hear me? So I would say they think that it's all glitz and glamour. They think that we are wealthy, and that's not true at all. And the third one I would say is it's no easy job. It may look easy when they see us in the forefront or when they see that celebrity. I think that they kind of get all caught up in who the person is. But no, it's a job and it's hard work, and you have to love what you do. You have to love what you do to really make it work.
So how do you keep from getting burnt out with all that you do, being a mom, a wife, a celebrity assistant?
I think that it's a love. Entertainment has always been my first love, you know what I mean? And so, every day is just, I don't know, it's a journey. I wake up and I'm excited to be an assistant and to do what I do. And it's so funny because most people kind of frown upon us, because we're at the bottom of the totem pole, as they like to say, but we are really the ones that really make it happen and get it done. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I would consider myself blessed to even be in the comfort of these people and to have the opportunity. You know what I mean? And I'm walking my path to stardom, on my own journey.
Okay. Now, speaking of your journey, if you could start your journey all over again, what would you do differently, or would you tell yourself at the beginning of your journey or career what would you tell yourself, I should say?
What I would tell myself, I'm my biggest critic. I've had a lot of opportunities that I've passed on due to maybe it was a physical appearance. Oh, I didn't feel like that I was thin enough or big enough, or this opportunity, wasn't the one that, I couldn't work it out with my job at the time or whatever, and just really follow my heart and do what ultimately makes me happy. I would definitely do it that way. I wouldn't kind of get in the way of my own destiny as I have in the past.
Oh, that's so awesome, because I believe so many people get in their own way, and we hear
for sure
that
we
so
do.
often.
For sure.
Yeah. It feels like to me that every successful person has a mentor. What is your professional mentorship?
I think it's so important, and my mentor is Sonia Norwood, who I absolutely love and adore. Work with her every single day. And most people, know her. That's Brandy, the singer Brandy, and Ray J's mother, who is a phenomenal woman. The feat of work that she's done for the last 2 decades is just endless. And so I've learned from her in a matter of 3 years what most people wouldn't learn in 10 years. So, not everybody has that option. But I definitely think that having a mentor, whether you know them or not, someone that you can just even look and let them be an example and kind of follow in their footsteps, is definitely necessary for sure.
Okay, great. Now, you've aligned yourself with people like you said, Sonia Norwood, who's a wealth of knowledge. How important is it to, for those strategic alliances or those partnerships, what has been your strategy for aligning yourself with certain people and learning from them?
I'm just really putting myself out there, in a professional manner. And I think that what I've been so blessed to be able to do is, I think that when people associate you with being an assistant, they feel that all you do is run errands, and that's not the case. I've really been able to show, the busy savviness of myself, that I do have, and that there's, many things that, I can do. I just landed a book opportunity deal for Tiny, and we're excited about that with Simon & Schuster. And, just really being able to showcase the skill and the level of knowledge that you do possess and the many things that you are capable of doing, not just being an errand girl or an errand guy, as most people tend to think. So, really show your stuff, and that's what I did, and it really, really worked well for me.
Yeah, it sounds like just from everything you're saying that being a celebrity assistant is way more than just being an assistant. You're landing book deals, you're speaking with lawyers, you're doing contracts, you're doing all sorts of things that is beyond what most people would think an assistant does. With all of that and all of those lessons in that, what is the one lesson that you would want those listening to take away from your career?
I would say, for me, I specifically like to speak to the young mothers of the world, the small towners. I was a mom right out of high school at 18. I had 2 scholarships, of which I passed over, for whatever those reasons were. But I speak to those mothers because a lot of times when we become, a parent, it's hard, especially being a teen mom. It was so hard. I didn't have a lot of help. At the end of the day, the world isn't over. And like I said, there's no one route to get to where you're trying to go. And things may not happen as we plan them or want them to happen, but they still can. So stay true to who you are and what you believe in. Work hard, stay persistent, and just start aligning yourself, in the environment of which you want to work in. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. You know, I had to think about, hey, you know, what's my goal in life? You know, how am I going to get there? And I had to, whether it was making that move, you know what I mean, I had to do it. You know, and one thing I do, like I said, when it comes to acting or anything, before I go to bed at night, I always look myself in the mirror and I ask myself, what did I do today to get closer to my dream? And if I don't have an answer for that, I have to question, am I serious about it? Is this really a dream, or does it just sound good to be able to say?
Gotcha.
So, you know, I would definitely say, you know, work hard, stay true, you know, use the doubtful people and the doubtfulness, you know, to your advantage, you know, turn it into success and prove those people wrong and really go after whatever it is you aspire to do.
Yeah, wow, that's so great and wonderful. Learning so much. I'm curious as well, with being a female, climbing the ranks in the entertainment industry, how do you deal with instances where maybe, because it can be such a boys' club sometimes, where somebody may be trying to be more than just a boss or more than just a client, or where somebody may be trying to push up on you because you're a female? What can you say to young ladies who may be experiencing those things in the entertainment industry, and how to handle those things, combat those things?
I would say always be professional. Know your worth. You know what I mean? It's so easy for us women to, you know, to do the unthinkable or to degrade ourselves to climb the ladder, I would say. But just know your self-worth, and those things can get you on, but will they keep you on? You know what I mean? I don't want anything that's easy. I want to work for everything that I want. You know what I mean? I feel like I would appreciate it more than if it was just handed to me. You know what I'm saying? So, when, you know, like on my acting journey, I don't name drop. When you go to my social media, you won't see, you know, a list of my clients. You know, I want to get the position because I've earned it. Or if I didn't, I want to know, okay, what did I do wrong? Why didn't you choose me for this gig or for that job, so I can go and work on those things? And maybe it wasn't me. Maybe you were just looking for, you know, someone different. You know what I mean? Or better, or whatever the case may be. But just know your self-worth and always, you know, take accountability and respect yourself and work for it. Work your way to the top.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little hard work, and you'll appreciate it
absolutely,
so much more.
For sure. You definitely appreciate
so
it
much more. I want to circle back to, you talked about, you know, your social media and not, I guess, not name dropping, but picture dropping and things like that on your social media. That was a question that I wanted to ask you, actually. How do you, it's such a crowded marketplace in the social media world.
It really is.
Manage, you know, your personal brand while not interfering with who you're working for in their brand?
You know, I could do a little bit better. I could really do a little bit better at my own social media because I'm always kind of handling my employer's social media. At the end of the day, I think it's balance, and you have to make time for you. And so for a long time, that was really kind of hard for me to do, you know, especially having to, you know, to deal with my employer, then be a wife and be a mother. It's like, when do I kind of have time for self? And you have to just make the time, whether it's 2 hours out of the day or 1 hour. You have to devote some time to yourself, you know, because you don't want to live with regrets. You don't want to say, you know, you know, I could have done this, or, you know, I had the opportunity to do this, but I didn't. You know what I mean? And so I don't want to be one of those people. So regardless of how heavy the workload may be or the day, I have to make time for me, regardless.
Yeah.
And so that's what 2016 is all about for me, is putting myself first. Because like I said, a lot of times you get lost and you get caught up in their career and you lose yourself. You forget that you have your own goals, your own aspirations. It's, you know, and so for me, like I said, when 2016, I said no longer. I'm going to focus on putting myself first, which is something that I'm not used to doing, you know. And yeah, and it's been working really well for me, I should say.
And, you know, I have to agree with you on that. That's been my 2016 motto as well. And I came to that because I've figured out that if I'm not focusing more on me and what makes me happy, I'm not being completely productive. I may be doing well. I may be efficient. You may think I'm doing a great job. But for me, I'm not being as productive as I could be because there's something missing in me. That I need to tackle. But even with that social media and taking time for yourself and whatnot, how do you discern what to put up on your social media? Because you have to think you're a reflection sometimes of your employer. So how do you discern what to put up for your personal brand that does not shadow or overshadow or look like you're doing too much to your employer?
Right. Well, I definitely think that you are a reflection of your employer, and what you put out on your own social media is a reflection of them. And you don't ever want to make them look bad or, you know what I mean, or any of those things. So I'm very conscious about that. And also for me, I'm a very personal person, so you're not going to ever see, you know, anything wild or anything that, you know, personal that happens in my life on social media. You know, I specifically use it for, you know, networking and, you know what I mean, and obviously it's just part of the time that we're in, so you definitely want to have it.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us now what I have noticed on your social media. You have a fairly new venture called Kool-Aid.com. Tell me about that.
Okay, you said tell you about what is it? I'm sorry.
Your new venture, Kool-Aid?
Oh, yes, I launched, so this past Tuesday, I launched a blog called The Kool-Aid, and that's COOLLAID. You guys can check us out at thekoolaid.com. Follow us on Instagram at thekool, COOL_Laid. Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, it's just The Kool-Aid. And so basically what that is someone actually came to me with the opportunity of they felt like the lane was open for that next Black it girl in terms of, you know, being a red carpet correspondent or, you know, a TV show host of my generation. And I know for me, I feel like, who is that girl? I know that Wendy Williams is definitely that woman, but she's in a different age bracket. And I feel like, who is really that girl? You know, when I think about it of my generation, I feel like no one has really held it down since Lala Anthony. I really like to use her for an example, you know, when she was with TRL and MTV. And so the project originally came to me. We were going to do an online show to make low budget look mainstream with the idea of getting picked up, where we would cover, you know, it would be an inspiration. We would inspire. We would give you the latest, you know, entertainment news, but factual information, you know, no bad stories or anything fabricated. Really uplift and also hone in on, okay, yes, Shonda Rhimes, we know who you are, but who helps you, you know, with your day-to-day, and really kind of hone in on those assistants, those people who are next up, those production assistants who are the future directors and producers, you know what I mean, and really kind of, you know, hone in on them and pay homage and really, you know, put them out there. As well as, you know, sports and music and all those things kind of serve to you all in one cup. And so, you know, I also it was so important with that was to really kind of go into, you know, minority neighborhoods and really, you know, real problems that we have that you don't see on today's news. You know, a lot of time I think that they don't necessarily show us, you know, being in black people or, you know, or some other ethnicity other than Caucasian in the best light. And so it was important for me to you know, if I was going to take this project on, to be able to have, you know, leverage and room to really do that. So with the reality show Like a Boss, it kind of turned into a blog. You know what I mean? And even though blogging kind of, you know, goes along with the show, you know, we kind of said, okay, you know what, we're going to combine the two, and we're going to put a lot of visual content. We're going to, you know, put out one-on-one celebrity interviews. And so we went live on Tuesday, and it's a growing process. I have a really, really great team. It's a small team. We're still growing, and we're taking it one day at a time.
Well, it definitely sounds interesting and very much needed. And we've talked a little bit about Like a Boss. Like a Boss is a docuseries on Oxygen. I think we stated that before. It comes on every Tuesday, 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
Well, the new time is 9:30.
It's 9:30 now. Okay, awesome.
Yes.
I'm glad we got that.
Eastern.
Eastern, okay. Tell me, Rian, how did this opportunity come about for you and Tigger to be on this show with Nick Cannon?
Right. Well, actually, it came about 3 years ago. I got a call from the creator of the show, a young lady by the name of Dolly. And Dolly was actually Nick Cannon's assistant at the time. And I remember like it was yesterday. She called me on a Friday, and she was like, hi, I heard a lot about you. You work for this person, that person. I heard you were really, really dope. Well, I'm creating a show about celebrity assistants. And it was so funny because at the time I was doing the same thing. And I remember saying that to her. And, listen, so anyway, so her show got picked up and, with Nick Cannon. And, I interviewed with her. She came down and, they sold the show with 4 interviews, no sizzle. And at that point, the production company got involved and then the network and, the rest was history.
Wow. So that really sounds amazing, to know that all of this came. You had a very similar idea to Dolly.
I did. Yes, I sure did.
And B, it took 3 years before it came to
fruition.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
And one of the reasons why I decided, well, I think that a lot of times, it's a process. A lot of times we see a movie can come out today that was filmed 5 years ago. We'll never know, unless you worked on the other side. So it's so many different elements in developing a show, before you bring it to the forefront and it, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, it was definitely a process. And obviously interviewing once the production company gets involved, whether the creator saw that I was a great fit or not, everyone else needed to make sure that that was possible too. So, and then, they do casting calls and all those things to make sure they have the right people for their show. You know what I mean? And so, that alone is a process. And the reason I decided to be a part of this show was because it really, showcased assistants in a really good light. Because like I mentioned earlier, a lot of times we're frowned upon and we don't really get our just due, and we are the next bosses. So that's what this show really embodies, that, hey, we get it done, and we are greatly responsible for what you see in the forefront of that talent or that celebrity, and we are up next. So there it is. And I think this show really showcases that in a great way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. When given based on everything you've told us and everything that we know about being a celebrity assistant, you guys definitely are you guys are, to me, the foundation of what propels that industry a lot, and people don't understand that. And I'm glad we were able to speak with you today and learn a little bit more of how you actually influence that industry so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So